So just a quick look at the chart here. And again, look, you can see it's come back into the resistance line here and has back tested it at the moment. Excuse me. So let's see. Let's zoom in and have a look a little bit more closely at a couple of the indicators and see what's going on. Yeah. I think I'll do the stock first. Yeah, because there's a lot of pressure coming down. We had a nice drop yesterday, and now we're having a nice lift. So what's going on? So if we look here, here's the 5-minute stock. So 50 and half hour. See, they're all back at the top. 2 hours after gloriously getting back to the top tier. 3 hours on the way back, very, very close. And then the 4 hour looks like it might want to head back up as well. Yeah. Excuse me. So potentially the 4 hour might want to get back to the top before we head down again. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have a look at why potentially. Yeah. Is on the dailies again. Here's the day top left, and the day is coming down. I'll actually show you the 12 hour as well. The 12 hour is again back from the overbought, and then the daily is just about to come in. So there's a lot of pressure coming from the top due to come down. Yeah. Here's the 2 day. Again, it's getting a breather up. I believe it's going to turn down again. Same with the 3 day. The 4 day turned last night, and again there's a bit of a crossover here. Got to see what that wants to do. There's the 5, the 6, and then there's the weekly. Even the 2 weekly is turned. So a lot of pressure coming down, but there's a lift at the moment. Yeah. There's the RSI. Now the one I'll point out here on the EMAs is, I believe it's the 1 hour I want to point out. Okay, so at the moment is we had a spill, and there's a back test to the 55 here. There's a back test to the 50 SMA, and then the question is it gonna continue up more, or will we get a lift? We can get a lift up here, but the question is that you see the 20 here. It's whether the 20 will cross over, or again we can get price action going up, and then the 20 turns around and we get that turn down. Yeah. If not, then potentially we might be coming up to do a double top or thereabouts, back up at around 40, 41. I say a range between 41.91 and 42, possibly a double top. I really don't see it going up higher than that. I know it could, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will. And we'll have a look at the MAs and a closer look at that. Yeah, we can even have a look at that on the EMAs at the moment, actually. So one of the things for the down, I believe, is the 4 hour. Is when this lift is finally done, and it might be done, but when it's done, is you can see the 4 hour is the 20 is sitting above the 55 here. So I reckon that when these guys eventually cross over, that's when we're going to get a very nice big spill. Yeah. So it's sort of just hanging on there. When we go to the 12 hour, again you can see it topped out at the 55, back below the 20, and back above it again. But I think that the daily is the one that we really need to pay attention to here. Yeah. So there's the crossing, there's the drop. Here's the back test to the 50. The 55 SMA is the top of the wick here as well. So a back test to the 55 EMA and the 55 SMA. So let's look at what it's done since that. Is there's the top, also a pivot candle. We got a drop back to the 20 EMA on the daily. Is got another lift, and the end of that day came back to the 20 again. The next day we got the breakthrough. Now today we've got the back test. We got the back test to the 20 here, and you can see it wicked to it, and there's a bit of a battle going on at the moment, because you can see that the VWAP on the day is up, but we've had the back test to the 20. So that all fits in with look, the push through, the bounce, the support, the breaking of the support, and the back test. So that's all part of the consolidation for the breakdown. Yeah. Could it go up and test to 55 again at 41.36? It could do that. Could it go up and do a higher top around 43, 44? It could do that, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will. And when you look at the lift here, and then the drop and the lift is when you put the fibs on it. So I'm going to map from the top to the bottom here. So this is the impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is you can see the drop back to the bottom here, back to the 0 point. Okay, now the back test came to the 05, and then we're getting a rejection. Yeah, so it looks to me like it's trying to figure its way to head down. Yeah, so we got to see. So now when we zoom in, into the EMAs or the MAs, this is where the battle is going on at the moment. So the four day turned. The 4 day turned, and if you remember, this chart here about the 4 day is the previous times that we've had a bullish divergence on the 4 day is the majority of the time is that it triggered a spill before a lift. Yeah. Now this time it went up, but it came down 10%. It came down 10%. It came down to the bottom here before it went back up. So even on this one, it still came down to the base here before it went up. Yeah. So now we've had after the trigger point here for the red candle, we've had the green candle. So there's the green candle just as an example. The next is we had a 4 day of a red, which is here. And now the question is will this 4 day turn into a red candle? And we have a bigger move down, yeah? So that's the question. Is if you look at this pattern here, you can see that the first red candle was similar to this one. And again, a bit of a battle here. And we got to see what happens on the next 4 days, yeah? So we'll see if that pattern is going to play out, yeah. So now back here is part of the challenge now to this. I was pointing this out, and a part of the challenge is on the 4 day which turned last night, is the 5 MA took a strong turn up. So that's not so good for the pressure down, yeah. Is the EMA, or sorry, the VWAP. The VWAP took a sharp turn down, but the 5 MA took a sharp turn up, and then here's the 50 MA in the middle of it. So there's a bit of a push and pull going on here, yeah. But the 5 turning up price action can absolutely push it down and force it down. But at the moment, it looks like it wants to stay where it is. If anything, it looks like it might want to go up on the 4 day. The 5 looks like it wants to push. Yeah. If it was going to do that, is again it would have to break past the 20 and the 10 here at 41.33. So we might have a test up to that. If we wanted to go further, the 20 up here at 43.65. And the 55 up here at 46.17, yeah. Excuse me. So, there is the potential. There is the potential here. Is if you look at this chart now, this is on the daily. You can see this chart here, yeah. So there is the potential still here that it wants to go up and test this channel again. I don't think it will, but there is the potential that it wants to come up and test that 47 mark or so, yeah. But it would have an awful lot to get through, yeah. And I'll just point out the touches here on this descending channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, the suggestion is that potentially there's a 6 down here, yeah, and it starts to find its way down. But equally, is if this was the bottom, which I don't think it is we're bouncing along this, and we could have air tested this and then back down here, and you get that space going on here. I don't think that's the play. I don't think that's the play. But I am pointing it out. So if it was to head up, as you can see, I was explaining to you about the daily, where it hit the 55 EMA, the 50 SMA, excuse me, and back down, breaking the 20, got below the 200 again, and again you can see us back up testing the 20 EMA here. Now on the daily, there is something very, very strong for the counter argument to that 4-day. This pressure from the 4-day is on the daily. On the daily, the 5 MA is after turning down. So you have the support of the 5 MA on the daily after turning down, and the resistance support of the 20 EMA. So on the resistance, you got the 5 turned down. You've got the 20 EMA here. Excuse me. But then you've got the VWAP on the daily turned up. You got a sharp turn on the 20. So today, so far, price action has gone down, wicked through the 10 MA and the medial line, the center line, excuse me, and has come back up and has got rejected at the 20 EMA. It the 5 hasn't even been tested yet. So you can see the battle that's going on. Now, when we follow the consolidation cycle, is you can see that it's broken above here and it's broken back below. So the pattern would suggest that, look, broke through, back tested, and then heading down, yeah. Same here, you get the breakthrough, you get the back test, and then you head down. So the consolidation range would say that we're heading for a down, yeah. But you can see the battle being played out on the dailies. So the dailies, the dailies are duking it out at the moment, yeah. The 2-day turned as well. So now the 2-day turned, and you can see that the VWAP was down, and again, because price action is pushing up, but the VWAP's down. It was down more earlier. It was down below the 100, so you can see there's pressure on the VWAP, and equally the 5 MA pushed through. So again, we could be having a bit of a battle going on here for a couple of days, and potentially when the 2-day turns again, is we'd be looking for the down. We'd be looking for the 5 to take a turn down there, yeah. So we got to see how this is all playing out, and you can see the 10 coming around here for support, yeah. But you can see the bit of the battle that's going on, yeah. Equally, there's a lot of MAs coming down on top. So I'm not even really talking about that, but there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure coming down, yeah. So now when we look in a bit, zoom in a little bit more on the 12-hour. On the 12-hour, again, this has only come back in from the stock that's only come back in from the overbought. So even though the VWAP is up today, you can see price action bounced off the 20 and is after coming back up and testing, meeting the 5. So in the 12-hour, the 5 MA is only getting tested now, but at the same time is look at wicked to the 50. So is you can see the 50 MA is coming down here quite strong, and you got price action being rejected by the 50 here at the moment, yeah. And equally here's the 10 MA here. So on the 12-hour, the 12 hours only started to turn. So look, when you see the reversal pattern, here's the 5 come up and turning, and breaking down through the 50 MA. Here's the 10 after coming up and looking to get a turn. So we need to see the 10 MA take a turn down, and again apply a bit of pressure as well. Yeah, the fact that the 10 MA has gone up like this, it's sort of suggesting that price action is going to get up and test the 10 here. Yeah, so but we'll see. We'll see how that battle goes. Yeah. So you can see that the 12 hour is applying a lot of pressure for the down. Yeah. So if we go in a little further, let's say we go to have a look at the 6 hour. Yeah. So on the 6 hour, again, look, you got the drop. Here's the VWAP coming up. VWAP looks like it wants to turn on the 6 hour. The 5 is again taking a sharp turn up. But again, it's only meeting the 10 and testing it. And at the same time, you have a similar thing playing on here, is the 100 MA again is coming down here very, very strongly. And here's the 20 floating over like this. So again, we need to see the 20 take a turn down and again, force that 5 to turn, yeah. So you can see the later hours in the day are very much in the reversal pattern and taking a turn down, and then there's a bit of a battle going on between the one day is now turned down, but the 4 day, the 5 and the 4 day is taking a turn up. So that's going to create a bit of volatility. So expect a couple of long wicks in either direction while it sorts itself out. Yeah. Now let's just zoom in. What time is it now? It is 12. My time is nearly 1 o'clock, so 10. The 10 hour turn. Let's have a quick look. The 10 hour turn there an hour ago. Yeah. So you can see the VWAP turn sideways. So you can see that the VWAP is not necessarily going straight up. So the VWAP isn't necessarily pushing much. It's not trying to charge price action up because it's going sideways. If it was going straight up, you go, look, VWAP is leading this and pushing it. The VWAP's not leading it. If anything, the VWAP looks like it's trying to put the brakes on. Yeah. So again, even on the 10 hour here, look, the 5 didn't take a turn here. It's continuing down, but you can see it's starting to turn a little bit. Is the price action is only meeting the 10 MA here now at the moment. And again, you can see the 10 MA is applying a lot of pressure. So it looks like the later hours of the day are for the down, and they're starting to bring in the 10 MAs to the game here, and pushing down. And they have the 50s. Remember, on the 12 hour, the 50 MA is pushing down. On the 6 hour, the 100 MA is pushing down. So they're bringing a fair bit of a push to their shoulder. Yeah. So while the dailies are duking it out a little bit, the later hours in the day are for the down. So they've got the support of the bears as it looks. Yeah. When we zoom in a little bit more, let me go to the 4 hour. And remember, on the stock, the 4 hour again is only starting to come up from the oversold. But when it breaks through, this is where it's strongest for the lift. When it breaks through, the higher this goes, the weaker it gets. Yeah. So give it another 2 4 hour candles, and this should be breaking the top here. So I would imagine, unless there's an awful lot of pressure coming down, and what happens is that stunts this here. If there's a lot of pressure coming down, this isn't going to come up too fast. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what it wants to do. Yeah. But at the moment on the 4 hour, again you can see, look, it wicked up to the 20 MA. So it got a rejection at the 20 MA, and again here's the 10 continuing up. Here's the VWAP. It did go sideways, but you see it's getting drawn up a little, it's getting pulled up as it goes along. And we got to see what this wants to do. So one of my thoughts is, have we topped out here and we're just finding our way around, or is it going to get drawn out more over a day or two, and we've a lot of choppiness and a bit of a battle going on where it pulls it up into these ranges? And I know, Lee, you mentioned that it might want to go up to the 200 MA on the 4 hour. And again, that could be the case. Yeah. Equally, I know Bitcoin needs to probably do a lift back up to around 17,200 or so, if it even gets up that far. But I know as part of its pattern, basically, Bitcoin hasn't done this part of its pattern. It hasn't broken above the resistance line. and come back into it. Yeah, so it could head up to 17 or so, 17.2, and then come back down. So if that happens for Bitcoin, again, that might pull XRP back up to around the 200 MA on the 4 hour, which again is about 41 cent, yeah, or thereabouts, yeah. So we'll see. Is the 3 hour? Again, you can see the 3 hour. The VWAP is less. Again, it's going sideways, slightly up a little bit. There's the 10 coming up as well. Here's the 5 and 10, so they're coming up fairly strong, yeah. And here's the 20. The 20 is starting to turn a little bit. Here's the 50. If you look at this here, here's this one, the 50 coming around here. It's being resistance at the moment. So again, a bit of a battle going on. It does, in one way, it does look like it's going to go a little higher, yeah. When I look at the 3 hour, it looks like it's going to go higher, yeah. Let's do one thing though. On the daily, see, this is what it hasn't met yet. Is I find it difficult to believe that the 5 MA is going to break. The 5 MA in the daily is going to break, yeah. Because when the 5 MA in the daily turns, it's a really strong signal, yeah. So now, and it's being supported by the 20 EMA here, and it being resistant. So you can see this is my argument for it's going to be very difficult to get higher. Look, when it broke through the 20 here, it got rejected at the 55 and 50 SMA. Look how strong the support was on the 20 EMA. It pivoted here, so it back tested it, went up, came back down, tested it again, went all the way up, came back down, tested it again. So for 3 days, even the 4th day here, but for 3 days, is this 20 EMA in the daily was very strong support, which also tells you that when it turns into resistance, it will also be very strong resistance. And the fact that the 5 on the daily has turned down as well is it just makes the resistance even stronger, yeah. So it's not going to be easy to break that. We might get a wick. You might get a wick above it, but I think the wick will get pulled down just as fast. So one of those volatility wicks where we could get it bounce up to 41 and it get pulled back down just as fast, yeah. Maybe. But anyway, so let's now go back to, where were we? Was it the 2 hour? So again, in another argument for a little higher up. Again, here's the 50, and always when you see an MA float like this up a little higher, it generally price action goes to it and it gets caught. It's like it catches it. I always imagine it's like a goalkeeper stretching a hand out to catch the ball. Yeah, this is what this MA, the 50, looks like on the 2 hour. Yeah, and this white line is where the 5 MA is. The wick of the 5 MA is on the daily. So there's a good chance that this is going to be a real strong resistance point to break through, and that it'll give a strong pushback for price action back down. Yeah, again, it might be a quick wick up even further. Yeah. So now I think that's pretty much where it is. Because again, on the hourly, you can see the same thing. Here's the that's the 100, isn't it? Yeah, the 100 MA is up here, and also the pi cycle. Yeah, the 111. So same. You can see that the 5 on the hour is looking to turn. It's trying it there. It's looking to do it here. So we'll see how far it can get. Remember, I talked about the EMAs. Remember the EMAs, and here's we had the spill. Here's the back test, and look, the hourly back tested. Here's the 55, the 50 SMA, the 50 MA. You can see at the moment they're all being support at the moment. But now I think that the test here is, can the 20 break the 55? Or will we get that last push up here and the 20 comes up? It might even break a little bit and then the 20 turns back down and then there's our spill, yeah? So possibly, and then the same on the 4 hour, yeah, is that 4 hour, the 20 holds, but there's a wick through it. And then when we start to get a reversal down, the 4 hour tops out. When we get a reversal down, we get this 20 breaking the 55 here, and that's when we could be getting our bigger spill, yeah. So that's what I'm watching for. Now I know it can pump up. I don't really see the pump. It can do it, but I don't really see it going up. Going up at the moment, yeah. Is this whole pattern here, this whole sequence is not impulsive, it's corrective. So all these swings here are a corrective pattern, not an impulsive pattern. So what I mean by that is it's a corrective pattern for a 1, 2, 3 down, yeah. Rather than if it was impulsive, you'd see the moves, you'd see the volatility within the moves more, where it's not. So you can expect that if we have a big dump down here, and we're now hitting at least the local bottom, where it's like we bottomed out, is then you're going to start to see more impulsive volatility, which would indicate that then we're going to start to take a lift up, yeah. And that would fit in with the Wyckoff accumulation, that we have a bottom here and then we get an impulsive movement. Not necessarily up this far. I don't know. I've mapped it out, but I haven't mapped out real target points. I'm just looking at it seems like on the Wyckoff accumulation we're due a lower low, and then from there we'll have that impulsive lift up. We could start to see something like this, yeah. And then somewhere along the way we're going to have another big tear down, yeah. But we haven't had this yet. So that's what I'm thinking. The markets can do whatever they want. So I know things can swing the other way. And I've already pointed out, if they were going to swing the other way and do a bit of a rally, is I can see it knocking its head off the 47 if it really wants to go that far. I don't really see it getting past the 50 on the daily here. If it wanted to go up, and again the hand stretches out and the goalie catches the ball here, and then it pushed back down. It might want to do this. And again, if it did do that, I think it's a bull trap. It traps all the bulls and then it swings back down again, yeah. I don't think that's the case, but you never know. So that's it for now. I think it's just a patience game, and let things do its thing. I will point out actually one more thing, and then I'll let Mihaela come in here and get out of the way. Yeah, is on the 8 hour, the 8 hour stock. The 8 hour stock. You can see it's at the bottom here, yeah. Okay, and then the 8 hour RSI. It's just pattern. Just something I noticed in the pattern, yeah. So the 8 hour RSI here, yeah. Maybe I'll do this. I'll go to the 8 hour. Okay. So you can see, actually, I want to do it like this. I think the 8 hour could be quite telling, yeah. Okay, so you can see that the 8 hour bottomed out here, the RSI, it topped back to the top here. So the 8 hour is indicating that it wants to go back to the bottom, yeah. So now watch this pattern here, yeah. Is potentially, well, when this turns down, that's when we're going to have our spill as well, yeah. And the reason I'm saying that is here, and I'm going to bring in, bear with me for a second. I'm just going to show you one of the things I'm watching out for. I already have there. I'll close this off. And I will close this off. Okay, so great, I already have here. Okay, so now, hide the drawings. The 8 hour going on, I'm going to go to the 8 hour. And we're just going to go back and have a look at something that I noticed on the 8 hour. Yeah, is you can see on the previous 8 hour top is here. Okay, now in the consolidation range is, look, we're previously, there's the pattern. We topped out here. We have our first drop. We have our battle even all the way down here. Have a lift up here, and then a drop down again. Yeah. So now that was that one there. Yeah. So now this, I think it's different here, and I'll tell you why. Because this here is, I don't know. I'm going to stop what I'm going to say because I'm overcomplicated. I want to really focus on this. Let me just stick to the bit I was going to focus on. I'll end up talking for 10 minutes. Yeah. So I'm editing as I go. Really, the bit I wanted to show you is this. Is look at the last drop. Is you got this lift here, okay, on the 8 hour, it topped out. Now look, you got 1, you got 2, you got a drop down. Now you got a sharp turn on the 8 hour, and then it turns around, and then it goes to the bottom. So now let's zoom in a little bit and just look at what happened there. Is you've got the drop, which is what we've got here, the drop. We've got a lift back up. We've got a lift back up, and again the same on the 8 hour. We have our lift back up, but you can see what happens when the 8 hour turns. When the 8 hour turns, then look at the spill that happens. And I reckon that's where we're heading for, is that when this 8 hour RSI, and you can see it's starting to spill over, when this 8 hour RSI takes a proper turn down, quite possibly that's when we're going to start to head. The RSI is going to start heading for the bottom again, yeah, and we got our spill. The point I was trying to make, and I'm going to make it, but I'm going to make it fast. I'll go on to the 8 hour here, yeah, is in this pattern. Look, we're here. In this pattern, we're here. I reckon we're back up here again. In this pattern, look, we've just broken back in and we're here. But I think because of the nature of we're due a lower low, it didn't come in this consolidation cycle. We got a drop in this consolidation cycle, but it's at the top of a lift here. This one here, this consolidation cycle, I think is actually setting up for a lower low. So that when we break back in here, we back tested. I think when we turn here is we're probably going to get that bigger drop, where when that 8 hour goes is we're getting the 1, 2, and then the 3. And I think we're going to get a drop down here. We get a little back test here, and then we'll get a spill, and we'll come down like this. And I'm not sure whether we're going to get a whole dragged out sideways pattern, because I think we're due the lower low, and I think it's going to go there potentially faster. That's what I think. That's what it looks like it's set itself up for. So we'll see. So I actually got to make my point I wanted to make, but I was far more efficient than I was on my other chart. Okay, so that's it. That's it for now. I'm already in a short, so I'm just waiting here patiently. If you're looking for a short, where would I suggest? Is if I just zoom in now. It is a tricky one because we're in a volatile zone. If I zoom into the 1 hour, and I just measured this drop here, I just put a fib on this, just this drop here, just to see if assuming we're not going to break the top of this, we're up at the 0.5, nearly hitting the 618. Potentially we could be coming up for that remember that wick, that push up to the 702, might even get as far as the 786. So it's hard to tell. Like there's a nice, like that looks like a very nice reversal pattern going on right now. Is if if I put a fib on this, it's giving a very nice range at the moment. Is there it is there on the 702. It's after giving, since the drop down and the lift up, or even this drop down and lift up, it's after giving 2702 touches, even 2786 touches. The only problem is that, is it the top, or are we going to have another push up? That's the challenge with it. Yeah, it might want to do that last week up. So probably you know what I'd say here is put an entry in at the 702, put a stop loss a tenth of a cent above it, and it's nice and tight. If it isn't the turn, is potentially there's one more up here. Maybe you want to be a little bit more patient and see if we're going to get that other push up. It's quite possible because the 4 hour needs to come up a little bit more, I believe. Excuse me. Equally is excuse me, is when this tops out and it starts to head down, you go, okay, look, we've got the confirmation that it's now heading back down. Is you could wait for a reversal, a retrace reversal pattern on the way down and jump in there when you've got a better confirmation of a turn. Yeah. So there is that as well. You just need to be patient. Yeah. So at the moment, there's potential there. I'm not sure whether it's a good one to go. If there's another push up here and you start to see a reversal pattern, I think it could be worth giving that a go. Yeah. For position, to get a position. Yeah. Maybe don't load in too much. See if it holds. If it starts to head down, then you can start to load in a little bit more. Yeah. But that's it for now. Let's just see how it wants to play out. But either way, there is going to be volatility. Just by the very nature of the way the daily MAs are playing out, there's a bit of push and pull. So that's it. That's it for now. You have all my thoughts.
Now, let's see where we are. We are nowhere, like I've already posted on the chats, that we haven't broken, for Ethereum and Bitcoin, we're still in the same range. We haven't broken out to in any particular direction. We've made a beautiful Bart Simpson on both of them for reversal to the upside. Ethereum has had a much more aggressive lift than Bitcoin. That's also because the range it was coming from was higher. We have, I'm going to start with the context now, the general context. We have, again, discrepancy between the DXY stochastic on the 12-hour and the DXY stochastic on the 4-hour. And I told you, every time that happens, it generally leads to sideways volatility. So it's exactly the space that we are in right now for Ethereum and Bitcoin. It's that sideways consolidation range, and we are in the middle. And we seem to be testing the waters to go upwards. So upwards would be the next natural move because we've only made a 0.5 correction. However, we have some obstacles in the meantime until we get there, until that lift is confirmed, because at the moment it's not confirmed. So here's the 12-hour DXY, and it's holding support. Sorry, not 12-hour, the daily DXY. It's holding support on the previous support and resistance level. It's going up. There are plenty of bullish divergences. We are expecting news today and tomorrow. Today, 3 p.m. UK time, volatility will kick in, and tomorrow as well. I'll check the timeline for tomorrow morning and post it on the chats. But this week is going to be quite volatile. So there are two types of trades that could be made this week. It's either the 15-minute chart, if you want to trade the swings up and down and take your profits at the double tops or the double bottoms and get in and get out in a couple of hours. But that's more like 15-minute scalping. Or you can go with the general trend, which is down. We are in a bear market. We're not reversing into a bull market. We have not consolidated in the bear market. And keep your short positions open. I have both my Bitcoin and my XRP short positions open. I would have been very tempted yesterday to take my profits at the 786 or the 702. It didn't reach it. It's too little profit. I'd rather keep it open and see what it does, because both of them have a fairly good entry points. So here's the daily DXY. Everything looks great for the lift. while the 4-hour stochastic is heading down. Now, the 4-hour can do something about something like this. It can stay up and continue going up. No problem about that. It's still holding the support of the Bollinger, the midline, the 20 on the Bollinger, which is great. Great because, again, I'm thinking you are in short positions. And when the DXY goes up and it holds support, we're coming down. So we're making profits from the short positions. But again, I have my red flag for today because we are coming down. However, what happened since the DXY opened on Sunday and yesterday, as you can see, is a little bit of a divergence from the from the regular correlation that it has with the crypto market. The dollar's doing its own thing because of what's going on right now in the macro world, and crypto's doing its own thing because of what's going on in the crypto world. So I think while it's good to look at the DXY and the S&P charts, it's good to keep an eye and make decisions on our crypto charts, not the DXY charts. So I don't doubt that this is what you do, but I think it's good to bring focus back into the crypto patterns, because analytically the pattern will play out according to the crypto chart, not according to the DXY chart. It will all fall into a beautiful space and place, and when it does happen, the third leg down. But in the meantime, we have our ranges. So until the DXY gets on track to accompany our ranges, I think it's better to look at where we are on the local Ethereum and Bitcoin charts. So I'm not dismissing what's going on with the DXY. All I'm saying is that there are extra variables at macro level, fundamental level in the world, and they're multiple, they're political, they're social, they're economic. So I think keeping things as simple and as clear as possible on the Ethereum and Bitcoin chart is the best way forward to keep our minds clear and to navigate and to trade this well. So it's good to know that the DXY is signaling sideways, and it's good to know that this is sort of like where the charts are going, but the main decisions should be made on the charts. Having said that, let's see where we are. There's no big movement on the daily on Bitcoin. We're still in the same levels. I was telling you yesterday that we could be in a sideways for a month. That is totally possible. We could have the same kind of pressure put on the 15.8 line over and over again, and that's why I'm looking to see when the profits get really juicy, and I see some bottoming out structures to take some profits, because this could drag on and continue for longer. Unless we have some sort of terrible crypto news kicking in, and that's when, again, the whole market will crash quite quickly. But that's the unless and exceptional scenario. The daily stochastic is heading down, the weekly stochastic is heading down, and the 4-hour stochastic is heading up. So we have two large time frames that are doing great for the push down, but we have the shorter time frame going up. So again, we might be stuck in a little bit of a sideways motion. And the sideways motion is again coming into the apex of this arc. Bitcoin has been great to trade on the arc so far, because it hasn't had trade or monitor. I use the arc to monitor my trade, because it's a higher time frame rather than the 15-minute arc. But here we are hitting the edge of the arc and holding it, and we are gaining great support on the 4-hour, but at the moment we haven't gone past the previous high. So you know that in order to break out of the arc and in order to break out of the range, we need to break the previous high. Bitcoin hasn't even broken the skyline. Ethereum has. When it breaks the skyline and when it breaks the previous high here at 16,700, we're looking at 17.2 or 18 as a range. So these are my two ranges. We are still within them. What we're doing today compared to where we were yesterday is we are above the support and resistance line. We have the 20 and the crossing upwards over the 55 on the 1 hour. It looks like this lift is complete, but we need to see support being broken. So we are in the same space. It's a simple story that I have to tell you today. We haven't broken yet to the upside. I don't believe we're going to the moon. I think the max will be 17.2. If there is particular market manipulation, we might be up to 18K, but I don't see any exit from this range. However, the same point that I made yesterday, we could have this drawn out process. This took 14 swings up and down to break upwards and then downwards. We could have a similar situation here, but it all depends on how things accelerate on the fundamentals as well, because I don't know how long we'll be able to keep this. At the moment, because of the worldwide macroeconomic volatility, investors keep their money in for shorter time and they're looking for safe havens, and Bitcoin is not one of them. Not when the industry is unregulated and not when the FTX scandal is going on. So, long story short, we are still in the middle of a range. On the daily levels, let me switch to where is Traders Reality? Here we are. This is the weekly. And switch to the hourly. On the daily levels, we are above now. We are above the psychological lower, above the pivot point. We're above the daily open, and we have increasing volumes compared to last week's lift. So here's where last week's lift happened. Here's where this week's lift happened. As you can see, the volume candles are a little bit higher, which means there's a little bit more volume going in. I still believe that the trade on the day is short, as I did yesterday when we hit this retracement. It was a little bit more volatility than I expected. It was quite. It looked like a trap yesterday, and I believe it was a trap yesterday. What happened? But it is still within the range, so I can't blame it for being a trap and for being volatile, because it is what it is. Technically, yesterday we had 1, 2, 3 back tests to the 20 EMA. I keep telling you that there are back tests, but they were sideways, which is the hardest one to notice, because normally I would take this as 1 back test. I wouldn't take this as 3 back tests, but there were 3 hits to the 20 before crossing upwards. Again, if in doubt, and if you're trading on the shorter time frames, put a stop loss to secure profits. If you're trading on the higher time frames and you're waiting for the third leg down, which will happen, then you can keep your positions open and watch for the top of the line to either DCA or improve your position. So, long story short, we have I believe we have a short trade today. We need to see how the New York session is going to open at about 3 p.m. We're going to have max volatility. The 3 p.m. UK time is a time of great volatility anyways, but today with the consumer sentiment, it's going to be probably even worse. So we need to see what's going to happen then and there, and we're still within the same range, not broken out yet, despite the lift that we've made from last night. Now, Ethereum is here in a new 4-hour structure. I had this broken out of a triangle, but here it is back in again. I believe that it has the strength, and it's making effort to break to the upside. It's made a local high there. It's higher than the previous high here. Now it's not higher than the one that we did on Saturday. So if we reach this top line, we might put in a higher high for Ethereum. I believe Ethereum still has a couple of swings to move in this wedge before it breaks out, now that the range is expanded. But this is, so this would be the 4-hour pattern that we're in. horizontally, in terms of horizontal levels, we are still within the same ranges, and the max level for this range would be 1290, which coincides to this one, which is like 1260. There's still a little bit of difference. Can we have a lift up outside of this? Yes, we can. $30 is not so, how can I say, it's not, it is significant for Ethereum. It's again, I think it is a variation that could happen, but I believe that between the horizontal range and the pattern on the 4 hour, I would choose the horizontal range to watch for. I wouldn't long where we are right now. I would just be waiting for short trades downwards. If we had been here on the bottom of this, where I hoped to get with Bitcoin yesterday, then yes, I would be looking for a long at the double bottom structure with a tight stop loss. But where we are right now, we are in the middle of this range. We haven't broken the previous high. I would wait for this movement to complete and then follow it downwards, or wait for a 702 entry where we are right now with a tight stop loss. If it decides to break it, I'll let it run upwards. If it doesn't break it, if it doesn't break the previous high at 1240, let's say, then you know, we're in for a nice short to the bottom of the range, because this would be a 1, 2, 3, a triple top structure. Both Ethereum and Bitcoin made 0.5 corrections yesterday, so they are free right now to do another leg up if they so wish. The swings right now are sustainable as far as I'm concerned in terms of having had their corrections. So I wouldn't advise longing without a stop loss. I wouldn't advise shorting without a stop loss where we are right now. And if you are trading within this range, remember the top edge of the range would be a nice entry for a long-term short, holding the position open. But there are still swings missing. So if I'm counting the swings, without the entrance swing, 1, 2, we need 2 more touches to the top, 2 more touches to the bottom. So that's why I wouldn't have any difficulty being a little bit more flexible up and down in this swing, in this range, rather than holding a longer trade open. But the profits need to be worthwhile. So don't give up a good position at the top of the range for a profit around the midline of the range, which is what I didn't do yesterday. So here's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Nowhere new in particular, still within the same range. It just looks like there's a little bit of a storm in a teacup after yesterday's move, but both the daily stochastics on both of them are heading down. The 4 hour is putting up a little bit of a fight, but we're still in the same range, and we're still looking to come down and do a level 3. Ethereum has 2 levels down to make, first to break the June low, and then to make a third leg down when Bitcoin does a third leg down. So that's it from me. Have a great day trading. Keep your eye on the charts, and I'll update you if something happens around the start of New York.